Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France, and of course you good old boys in Africa. You know we love the Big C tribe. Of course, we love you in Canada. But Big C, there's no one we love more than you good old boys down south in the land of the free, in the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going on a beautiful March the 8th, 2018, Big C? Your thoughts?
Charlton, somebody keeps leaving the freezer open down here because for some reason the temperature keeps dropping. I can't even go out and plant the flowers because I'm so worried about they freeze up and all of a sudden I've thrown good money away.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes, even out here in California, they're telling people that we're still in a drought. And it's starting to rain a lot, but then it gets hot. So we got rain and we got snow. It's all happening right about the same time, but we know it's all fair in love and war. Today is actually, Big C, International Women's Day. Started 1910, so congratulations to all of the women all over the world that are doing their part to keep our society strong. Really appreciate that. Black Panther movie, $920 million so far, Big C, and it's opening in China. I think 1.4 million people in China, and they're expecting...
So billion on that.
Yeah, did I say million or billion? I didn't mean to shortchange somebody. Imagine if you gave someone $1 million at the bank, they had $1 billion, they'd kind of be upset. Big C, sorry about that, China. Want to keep detente in order. They're expecting about 60 million, Big C, in the opening weekend in China. And you're talking about movies like Gone with the Wind, Star Wars, Sound of Music, Titanic, and of course the Ten Commandments. So a lot of good things happening in the world of sports and politics. And I want to get your thoughts on, we have Serena Williams, and she's one of the greatest athletes in the world when you talk about Women's Day. And for women to achieve at the level that men have, and even to compete and beat the men, it hasn't always been that way. There are a lot of times women didn't have a chance to even show how good they were in anything, Big C, whether there's voting, whether it's getting a job, or even playing a sport. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this worldwide recognition of Women's Day is just an outstanding feat and recognition worldwide for the other gender. I mean, they have been so profound in the importance of the world. In every phase, they just have not always received the recognition. But, they always say behind every great man is a woman, and that's not true. Because behind every great woman is a man also. But women have been the foundation of every culture in the world because they have been the nurturers for every man that has ever achieved in life. He's had a strong woman in his life, leading him the whole way, Charlton, from the time of birth to the time of deciding the path that he wanted to take in life. And generally that was guided by a woman. So when we think about International Women's Day, every day is Women's Day in the world. Because without them, society throughout the world would not have the foundations that it has.
Isn't that true? Who came first, the chicken or the egg? And that all that thought about a woman came out of a man's rib. Okay, I believe science fiction is one thing. I know that would hurt if that happened, Big C. I do want to say today's segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. So I think about the Williams sisters, and I think about a sport like tennis. You have Venus and you have Serena, and it's amazing that you can have two women growing up in the same household, both of them considered in the world of tennis an elitist sport, a club sport, that they were born on the wrong side of the fence. But you look at what their father has done, and I'm sure everyone's proud of their children, but he has to be most proud that he has two daughters that grew up being ostracized from that sport, and now they've ascended to the top of the universe. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he had an abstract way of teaching his young ladies golf. I mean, not golf, but tennis. But when you think of how they've ascended to the top of the echelon of that sport, winning every major tournament that there is, and that was recognized in their profession. But they've also done it with character and class, Charlton, which is first and foremost. is the representation that they've gone out and done for women, and as well as women of minority status, Charleston.
Yeah.
To show that they are the elitist of character and athleticism in a particular sport that was not allowed many minorities to play in over the decades.
Yeah.
But for them to hold the top echelon, and Serena is probably the greatest tennis player of all time, and probably one of the top 10 athletes in the world of all time, based on what she has done in competitive sports.
Yeah. You think
and for her to come back, a year after giving birth, Charlton, and playing in her first singles match down in Indian Wells, is a tremendous feat.
Yeah.
She is like Tiger in the world of tennis. I mean, if you look at tennis has not really been on the forefront of everyone's mind, with her not out there being competitive.
Yeah.
But now that she's back, you'll see the ratings rise. People want to see if she can gather her old form, what type of shape she'll be in after becoming a mother for the first time.
Yeah.
Which, congratulations to that. I know every parent in America, when they become that parent for the first time, it's the greatest thing in their life.
Yeah.
Nothing can ever ascend beyond that, because you think of all the championships that she's won, and as high as she's been on the world stage, to her greatest victory now is becoming a mother.
Yep.
And getting that right.
Yeah, and that's amazing when you think about that, and the fact that she's won many Grand Slams, and she's won all over the universe. It's amazing, and I think about things that have happened in the Black diaspora of leaving the African continent, and then going all over the world to different continents, and to take up stake and kind of plant your dreams and plant your seeds. But to have two women that grew up in the same household in Southern California and were never fully welcomed into the social aspect of tennis, even though they were loved on the court, there's oftentimes when you don't have that same affinity for people when they're not on the TV or not on the radio. So again, congratulations to the Williams, Serena, not only being a mother, but being one of the best, tennis players in the universe. Big C, I want to touch on another combination. It's not a, sister-sister relationship, but it's a brother-sister relationship. I look at the Millers. Reggie Miller went to UCLA, played at Indiana, and then Cheryl Miller, out of the same household, growing up and really being able to do whatever they wanted. They were not affected by Jim Crow, even though they were born right around the ending of Jim Crow. But I look at Reggie Miller's career, kind of considered one of the best, shooters in the NBA universe, Big C. Not the biggest guy in stature, not the biggest guy physically, but as a shooter, I think he may have been only the second best player in his household, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it was thought about that throughout the tenure of growing up.
Yeah.
Is that his sister dominated him all the time on the court.
Yeah.
And she was an All-American. She was an Olympian.
Yep.
She achieved it all for us from the female perspective, Charlton, in the game of basketball.
Yeah.
She was a tremendous player leading that USC Trojan in the Pac-10 conference, which it was at that time.
At that time, yeah.
And, they did not have the professional league that they have now with the WNBA and having the television following and sponsorship. If it ever had that back in Cheryl's day, she would have been the leader of that league in that era.
Oh, yeah.
She went on to become a tremendous broadcaster.
Yep.
She's been very successful in her exploits since leaving USC.
Yeah.
And her brother's careers are well documented, with the Indiana Pacers being a tremendous three-point shooter in his days back in the NBA.
Yeah.
As well as, challenging in the Eastern Conference. They always had competitive series against the New York Knicks and the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
You happen to come up in an era where there's always a dominant team or two ahead of you in your conference.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that Reggie had that slowed down his career, is that during his heyday was the same time as Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we may have been seeing Reggie Miller, two-time NBA champ.
That's true, and I think one of the greatest games, and I love his work as an analyst, covering NBA basketball now. I think he does a fine job. But I think one of the times when I think about, Reggie Miller, what I really appreciated about his competitiveness, he was like a skinny version and a taller version of Russell Westbrook, because he's played with such passion. I remember that time he gave the choke sign to the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden, and Spike Lee was trying to get in his face. And I think Spike Lee was trying to ask him if he wants to do a movie, and he said, "No, I got other things to do right now." Big C, your thoughts on the choking sign to the Knicks, Big C?
Well, you know, this is when Reggie buried a couple of three-point shots back-to-back against the Knicks.
Yeah.
Well, when it seemed like the Knicks had the game won, Charlton.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was always a thorn in the Knicks side. And, you know, when you look at some of the characters who sit courtside in New York,
yeah,
it's a who's who of the entertainment industry, just like in Los Angeles,
yeah,
when you would see the Lakers play.
Yeah.
You know, it was must-see basketball when you're in New York. If you can sit courtside at Madison Square Garden, you're a who's who.
Yep.
And so there was always someone courtside that you were going to see, you know, on television. And Spike is a native son of New York, as well as being a fan of the Knicks.
Yeah.
He's just that diehard. And so, you know, when you're a fan, you live and bleed and breathe of your franchise.
Yeah.
Win or lose, you're there.
Yeah. Because
you're not fair weather, as we see so many people jumping on the bandwagon. And Reggie, whenever he got a chance to turn the screw against the Knicks fan,
yeah,
he didn't hesitate in rubbing that in. And Spike jawed just as much as the player did.
Yeah.
But, you know, they all have great admiration for each other.
Yeah.
They know each other off the court. But when you're a competitor, you're a competitor. And what goes on during the game,
yeah,
you really don't concern yourself with the feelings of your opponents or their fans.
Yeah, that's a great point, Big C. Another sport with two kids that grew up in the household, in homage to their mothers. You know, all come from African-American mothers. I look at Rondé and I look at Tiki Barber and how they both ascended to the NFL. You know, both were good athletes. Both have made Pro Bowls at different times, gotten into television. And they were not the biggest athletes. They were not big and hulking like someone like a Bo Jackson or a big, you know, like a Herschel Walker. They were more the scat back, kind of like Terry Metcalf from back in the day. And I look at how they ascended not only through the college ranks, Big C, but then to go on to college. And I could imagine the pride that their mother had, and just knowing that she put them in the right direction. It's up to them to stay in the right direction, and everybody goes through things in life. But Rondé and Tiki Barber, to come out of the same household, I'm sure their mother was very proud whenever they showed up on TV or radio. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, they were competitors since birth because they were twins.
Yeah.
And so they were competing on who was going to get there first, you know, who was going to be mom first. And so that's when their competitive nature started.
Yeah.
And, you know, these two young men, you know, went on and attended the University of Virginia, a very astute academic university, Charlton.
Yeah.
And had high accolades, not just as athletes, but as students.
Yeah.
And they both went on to have stellar NFL careers with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Both competed, you know, at the highest level, played in Pro Bowls. One has a Super Bowl ring, Charlton. They went on to have broadcasting careers. But when you think about the heritage of their household and to be able to produce two such fine young men, not just athletes, but young men.
Yeah.
I mean, this goes back to the pride of the minority families, Charlton, when you look at the build of them in America and how much pride on education is pushed.
Yeah.
I mean, athleticism is something that always gets recognized. But you have to look at how families preach education and how important that is. Because you're always looked at differently. Yeah. Regardless of how intelligent you are as an African-American man, and we see, you know, LeBron being criticized for his intelligence. Yeah. Yes, he said he would have loved to have gone to college and gone to Ohio State and played basketball because he was a native son of Ohio. Yeah. But, you know, the time just wasn't right for him to go to college, and you know, he had a better opportunity to perpetuate himself financially and just overall as a person by going into the NBA. Yeah, and you got to, you know, we see what these young men have done that have gone to college, the intelligence that they've been enlightened with, and go on and have stellar professional careers. Yeah. And also become positive members in society after their careers are over. Yeah. That's important. And so we talk about International Women's Day, and there are oftentimes, you know, started back in 1910, that was still the days of Jim Crow. And all of these athletes, they had grandparents that were born in Jim Crow as well as their mothers were born in Jim Crow. But just because they were born in Jim Crow, where society was against them, and Laura Ingraham could make that statement, shut up and dribble or stay in your lane,
because they had no choice, Big C. The law was against their parents and grandparents.
Well, if you look at Laura Ingraham, Charles, it should have been saying, shut up and stay off the bus.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, during a certain area in the U.S. That would have been her role, is to tell minorities to stay off the bus and just walk or sit in the back of the bus. But, you know, there was a time for change. There was a time for change against people like a Laura Ingraham.
Yeah.
That back talk and backlash that they want to bring towards society in negativity ways is not acceptable any longer.
Yeah.
And when she makes statements like that, that shows the racist nature of her.
Yeah.
And her upbringing.
Oh, yeah.
And how her parents taught her.
Her parents taught her that.
Negative towards others in society that did not look like her in the mirror.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that would make you say something like that, to shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
That means lack of respect for other human beings.
Yeah.
For other Americans, and especially minorities.
Yeah.
And that's something that can't be tolerated in society. It's like the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
It's the same akin to that, is that you're racially devoid of other people.
Yeah.
And sensitivity towards other cultures.
Yep.
Is that you're the only thing that matters.
And, you know, it goes back to even the great Donald Trump called them SOBs. He said, fire the SOBs. That means son of a biscuit, from what I understand, Big C. But all of these...
I had a couple of those other morning for breakfast. I'm going to tell you, man, it was awesome.
I could imagine it's awesome, and you chase it down with a moonshiner. But I think about the International Women's Day. Now, black women and white women, they can celebrate this day. But it wasn't all the same. It wasn't all egalitarian. Just like the movie Hidden Figures. I look at these black athletes that have ascended to greatness, and some have been considered the best in the universe. But they all came from black parents. And those women had to be stronger than the average white woman, because where the white lady could go into any restaurant she wanted to, she didn't have to read the sign other than male or female when she went into a bathroom, a restroom. They could go into any restaurant, they could buy homes, they could get loans, you know, first hired, last fired, all that stuff, favoritism, media opportunities. But these young black women and their mothers, their grandparents, a lot of Southern people call it mother with, they had the wisdom to pour in something that would teach their kids and grandkids to keep going forward. And so I appreciate that when we talk about International Women's Day. Oftentimes, they assume that black women have always had it as easy as our white counterparts, and they have not, but they have had to work harder, and they did it. Michael and Leon Spinks, two great fighters in their own time. Back in the day, Ali and Spinks had to get together. They talked about a few things, Big C, okay? And then Leon Spinks, he had a few conversations with Mike Tyson. At the same time, they came from the same mother, the same household, the same mothers that saw their kids rise to stardom as we celebrate International Women's Day. Think about the thankless jobs they did. They were not put on television. They didn't have millions of dollars in their pocket. And who knows how difficult it was to keep food on the table. But they still had that faith, Big C. That faith that if they keep doing the right thing, that the universe will reward them. And if not for them, at least their children, Big C, Michael and Leon Spinks. Your thoughts?
Well, Charles, when you think about mothers of those areas, when majority of them worked in menial jobs, that they didn't have jobs that, you know, most white people wanted. They had to work for them in you know, behind the scenes scenario to make white people successful. But, you know, they instilled something in their children. Is that you didn't want to be working the same job that I'm working. That this is why I'm pushing you to be better in life. And there's been so many sacrifices made over the decades from minority parents, Charlton, and mainly the mothers. Going out, working two jobs, making sure that their children stayed in school, kept their grades up so that they could better themselves socially and financially over time, that when opportunity presented itself, is that they would be prepared for it. That's the underlining of the minority culture that a lot of people have never paid attention to. Is that over all the decades in America that blacks mainly have been oppressed, is that how hard and how driven they've been towards education. They fought for it. Plessy versus Ferguson. Brown versus the Board of Education. It was about achieving better education for black children. Equal rights. the fight to get into universities when President Kennedy was in office in his lifetime. You had governors like George Wallace opposing African Americans being able to go to universities in those states. The fight against blacks being able to achieve a higher education in America is always been one of the goals of white America. You go back to slavery, say, they can't read. We don't want them to read. Because if they can read, then they understand everything that we're doing against them. And they won't understand their rights if they can't read. And that was the biggest fight in slavery, not just keeping people oppressed, but keeping them uneducated. Because you knew if they read that they were just as intelligent as you. And slaves would be punished for reading. It was an abomination for a slave to read. And then as blacks gained freedom in advance, people found out how intelligent they were. With the creation of so many inventions and patents in America. Back in the 18 and 1900s, when you think of half the patents that were created in America were done by blacks.
And that statement called the real McCoy, that was created by an African American who had a way of putting some type of acid on gold to see if it really was gold or if it turned green, and that was a black man. That's where the slogan, the real McCoy, came from. Big C, I look at Steph Curry and Seth Curry, and right now they're the contemporary, brothers from the same mother, the same family that have ascended into the ranks of the NBA. We know Steph Curry, considered at one time the best basketball player in the universe and the only unanimous MVP of the NBA. He has a brother named Seth Curry. Now, they've both been good players in college. They both managed to play in the NBA. Now, Steph has gone on to stardom. His brother's still a journeyman and learning his way. But their father, Dale Curry, and the mother, again, Dale was born in Jim Crow. He was born, when he came out the womb for International Mother Day, we were still in Jim Crow, Big C. And that didn't stop him or his parents from leading him in the right direction. And now I look at what he's done with his children and the mother as well, getting both young men to not only be excellent athletes, but to be excellent men and role models. And I just want to pay homage, especially on International Women's Day. We celebrate it worldwide. We've been doing it since 1910. But when it was originally celebrated, it wasn't fully celebrated by all people unless you're a white woman. So for all the black mothers out there and grandparents that had a hand in the raising of your children and grandchildren, I want to make sure that you're acknowledged too, and you're not some ancillary role in this world celebration. Big C, your thoughts on Seth and Steph Curry and the parenting they had coming up. Big C, your thoughts.
Well, when you just look at the whole world of professional sports, Charlton, and the involvement of minorities in professional sports, we're looking at the game of basketball right now because it's in the peak of the final weeks of the season. And the Currys are very important in that, especially Steph, leading the Warriors, trying to make it back to the finals for a fourth consecutive year. And when you think of the role that their parents played, they met each other in college, and they've had this lifelong relationship, Charlton, since then, and they've produced a couple of great athletic children. But, they were great athletes within their own right when they were in college, and Dale as a professional athlete also, Charlton. But just like with the Miller family, the mother was thought to be the better athlete in the family when they were in college. She was a tremendous soccer player at the University of Virginia Tech. So, when you think about what they instilled in their children and showed them through the embodiment of what they had done in their younger years. And, to have the privilege of growing up as two kids with your father in the NBA, being able to go to work with your dad, on your take your kids to work day. Where you going? I'm going to work with my dad. He plays in the NBA. He plays for Charlotte. That's a pretty good thing to have, as a child. And so they were not undaunted when they got to that level because they had lived that Charlton as children. Their mothers had prepared them to say, hey, stay humble. This is your dad's job. It's not yours. Stay humble. And learn from your dad. But she was that leveling You know, when they came home, and, you know, it's like the commercial they had, you know, when Steph tried to sit in Dale's chair, you know, on the sports show.
Yeah.
And he's like, one MVP, you know, and you think you can sit my chair. You know? Well, you can say I got two now, so I can get the chair. You know, but,
that's true.
You know, when you look at that just shows the humbleness of the family.
Yeah.
Is that you don't take things for granted. And as minorities, there's never been an opportunity for minorities in America to take things for granted, Charlton.
Yeah.
You've worked for everything you have.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there saying, you know, they're lucky and, you know, look what they have because they're a great athlete. No, that's not from luck. That's from perseverance and surviving.
Yeah.
You think about every African-American athlete in America has come from survival of his culture, Charlton.
Yep.
Hasn't been lucky. It's come from survival of his culture. Because when you think about how many African-Americans have lost their lives in America,
yeah,
not in a war, because the war has been here on American soil,
yeah,
against African-Americans. When they were hanging, lynchings in the streets, Charlton,
yeah,
the fun for sports by whites in America.
Yeah.
You know, and people want to say, well, things have changed. No, you haven't paid restoration for that, Charlton.
No.
You haven't. You cannot go back and say, I'm sorry for the lives that we took for sports.
Yeah.
You know, for blacks who never got an opportunity to pass on their genealogy, Charlton, throughout the time.
Yep.
Because their lives were lost. Think about how great this culture would have been. Think about how many doctors were lost, how many lawyers were lost.
Yep.
Not just athletes, how many dentists, how many educators were lost, Charlton, because some white felt that it was going to be fun to go hang a black man in the middle of the street.
Yep.
That it never got a chance to pass on the genetics that could have led to greatness in society, Charlton.
Yeah.
Because some white guy thought it would be fun to kill a black man.
And we know our nation, that's the ugliest, and they call it the original sin. There's still a lot of people who say shut up and stay in your lane because they're ignorant to history. I want to touch on just a few more things, Big C, because we think about athletes. We talk about how athletes and athletics and sports will bridge our society together more than politics and definitely more than religion, because churches are still segregated. I would love to ask all the churches, and I know it probably won't happen, but we can have an International Women's Day. Why can't we have an International Fellowship Day where every congregation decides to be like a sports stadium, you know, diverse? Sometimes you walk into some churches and they're all worshiping some God, okay, hoping they can get to heaven, but they won't go to a church in a different neighborhood because the people don't look like them, Big C. But they all want to praise and worship God. I would hope that especially some of these mega preachers who are having TV shows and asking for money to give to God, maybe they could take some of that money and do what Billy Graham did, say we're not going to have segregated churches anymore. I think that would do a lot to have a really international day, Big C. I want to bring up one more thing. Guys like Jason Kidd, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Alonzo Mourning, Chris Paul, Vince Carter, Kevin Durant, Chris Webber, Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, Paul Pierce, Grant Hill, even the great Kevin Love, Dwight Howard. They all came from mothers. All of them except for Kevin Love came from a black woman. So International Women's Day, even though black women were celebrating their own celebrations and their own joys and their own faiths, were not always welcome in mainstream society. Colored bathrooms, you know, colored drinking fountains. To put up with such indignity, to have a knucklehead today on Fox News say shut up and dribble because she's ignorant to the fact that a lot of women who opened doors for her to have that job at Fox, she still doesn't understand how important it is. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, we're always going to have this diversity in society where we're going to have people that will never be accepted of everybody. And you know, it would be nice. You talked about an International Church Day. I think with the passing of Billy Graham, that thought was over with at that point, Charlton, of ever having a communal church, you know, within the world.
Yeah.
That everybody believed in the same thing, especially in America.
Yeah.
You know, that factor is not going to happen. As you talk about everyone asking for donations, heaven's free, like, from what I heard. I didn't realize they had a toll.
They got to pay, my goodness.
So, everybody's constantly asking for money and to give more.
Yeah.
As much as they're asking to give, I mean, they ought to be looking to give. I mean, we have so many people in disparity in the U.S., Charlton, and especially a lot of mothers who are out there struggling. And you would think that these churches would have that open door policy to help them out. Yeah. As far as paying bills, providing for some children, just to give. Yeah. Because when you look at some of these palatial palaces that they call houses of worship, like I said, it's very expensive. But we have so many struggling mothers throughout America, of all races, of all cultures. Yep. That, it's just not enough done for as far as aiding. And I think a lot of them, Charlton, if they had just a little more help, that, it would get them on that right path. But sometimes they feel left out as far as society goes. Yeah. They look up, they see those who are doing well, and wonder why they don't get that opportunity. Everyone doesn't always have that great path in life, Charlton. Yeah. Everybody, regardless of how well you're doing, all need a shoulder to lean on.
We all do,
Someone to consult in. Yep. Someone to say, hey, everything is going to be all right. We can help make this better with you. Yeah. You're not alone. And I think that's one of the things that's been lost in the direction of America and American society. Yeah. I know our president is always talking about make America great again. Yeah. America's never been a bad country in the last 100 years in totality. Yeah. It's just the direction of a lot of people has been wrong.
The leaders,
And I think in his message talking about make America great again, it needs to be make all Americans great.
All Americans, that's a good point.
That's what the message needs to be, not make America great, make all Americans great. Yeah. For those who are left out, those who are forgotten about, need a helping hand. Don't turn against those who have the least to lose. Yeah. That's what America is doing now. It's turning against those who have the least to lose. Yeah. And so to make America great, those are the ones you have to lean to and help out the most. Yeah. Because to have equality means we don't have those who are left out.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we can all do it. It all starts with trying. I want to pay homage to it's an International Women's Day. I want to just pay homage to the top 12 high school girls basketball teams in the United States of America. Number 1, Archbishop Mitty, San Jose, California, 27-0. Number 2, Christ the King, Middle Village, New York, 26-0. Big C, what kind of pressure do you have when you try to beat Christ the King? You kind of feel guilty. So they are undefeated. That's a lot of pressure for young girls to deal with. Number 3, St. Mary's of Stockton, California. They are also a good team at 27-2. Number 4, Riverdale, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. They are 33-1. St. John's College, number 5, Washington, D.C., 32-2. Number 6, Centennial, Las Vegas, Nevada. They are 29-3, doing their thing down in the desert. Number 7, Paul VI out of Fairfax, Virginia. They are 31-4. Congratulations to the good old girls in Virginia. Number 8, Hamilton Heights Christian Academy, Chattanooga, Tennessee, 25-2, a great record for them. Number 9, Central Valley out of Spokane, Washington. They are 27-0, Big C, a good program up in the Northwest. Number 10, Riverdale Baptist, Upper Marlboro, Maryland, 23-5. Now get this one, okay? Try to beat this team without feeling guilty. Number 11, Holy Innocents Episcopalia out of Atlanta, 29-1. They see a lot of pressure trying to beat them team. And number 12, southeast of Raleigh, North Carolina. They are 30-0. Congratulations to all the top high school girls basketball teams all over the country doing your thing and showing that women have that girl power, just like Cheryl Miller from back in the day. Go ahead and do your thing and hopefully go to college and have a great chance at a college education. I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. And for every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports, whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, even your mom and pop soccer leagues. When you reach out to them, let them know that Big C sent you. Big C, Tiger Woods. So much going on in the world of sports, and I want to get your thoughts. And this is a time right now in the world of the sports universe. And we talk about how important it is. I know Tiger doesn't have his father, but for International Women's Day, I'm sure his mother's still very, very proud as she's had to go it alone over the past 2 decades. But Tiger, in the tournament down now, the Valspar Championship in Palm Harbor, Florida, and he's not playing bad, but he could be in first. He's a -1. He's 3 shots off the lead. He's hit 9 of 18 fairways. Big C, after the back surgeries, he's really making great progress. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he's making progress, but, he's not where he should be. You think of where he is. He's 3 shots behind the lead.
Yeah.
But Tiger's still hitting the bogeys. That's the difficult part of his game. He has to find a way to straighten those shots out. I mean, you have 4 bogeys in your round, Charlton.
Yeah.
And you're trailing by 3 strokes. You eliminate those 4 bogeys if they're just pars.
Yeah.
You're in the lead. You don't have to shoot birdies, just shoot pars.
Yeah.
You're in the lead. And so Tiger has to find a way to park his driver. I think that's the biggest hindrance that he has right now, because that short game is solid.
Yeah.
It's this long game that's leaving him in turmoil right now, but it's great to see Tiger be competitive.
Yeah.
Will Tiger finish the top 10? That's his goal.
Yeah.
Is to get into the top 10. Whether he wins or not, that's an afterthought right now in his mind.
Yeah.
He wants to be a top 10 golfer. And if Tiger is a top 10 golfer, if you look at the galleries that's following him around right now,
yeah,
this makes you reminisce.
Yeah.
And the fans also, because the fans are excited.
Yep.
And when you think about the world of sports, it's about the fans.
Yeah.
You have the fans that believe in you. It's like looking around in an NBA arena and they never pan up to the top tier.
Yeah.
Because the team has only won 20 games on the field.
Yeah.
But if you go to some place like Oracle Arena or the Toyota Center in Houston,
yeah,
where they shoot the entire arena, they pan the entire arena because it's packed.
Yeah.
Because these teams are winning and being competitive.
Yeah.
And that's what you get in the gallery following Tiger Woods around.
Yeah.
And, it's great to see golf with Tiger on the weekend.
Yeah.
Everybody's excited. I mean, it makes your yard work back up. That kind of kicking off a little bit. Okay, Tiger, when you weren't playing, I had no problem with my yard taken care of.
Yep.
All right, now Tiger's here, so I might get fined or something for weeds or something growing in the yard.
Yeah.
But Tiger, it's like a plus minus in basketball.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a big plus that he's back.
Yeah.
But it's a minus because I'm getting yelled at. There's things to do outside. You need to find your way out the door.
Yeah. That's funny. He's looking at Tiger in the tournament for the first time. He's alongside Jordan Spieth and Henrik Stenson. And the great thing about the golf world, he was doing some practicing on Tuesday with Jim Furyk and Stricker and Davis Love III. And when we talk about Tiger Woods gearing up for the Masters, so that's why he's playing in the Valspar, but he has to keep playing. And again, Mickelson won a tournament, and he's, older than Tiger by 5 years. So Tiger's I think he's gonna beat the record, but Jack, even if it takes him 5 years to do it, he has another solid 10 years of golfing because he's in better shape than the average golfer. And with the back surgeries and then just being able to do the physical therapy and get his swing back, I think it's gonna be great for the world of golf. Big C, the person that is $6.5 million and the winner's share is $1.1 million, and it's going all the way to the Golf Channel and then NBC Sports. So whether it's Tiger, I want to get your thoughts on something. We talk about International Women's Day, but I know his father is the one that got him into the business. And I just want to get your thoughts on, people may not even think about this and not making excuses for anybody, but when his dad was there, his dad was a citadel. He could talk to his dad about many things. And a man who knew what the world was like because he had a great background, military background. But without having that, Tiger's found his renaissance. He's become, reborn again, not just physically, but emotionally. Everybody has a personal life. Who cares if it's public or not? But people have personal lives, okay? But to see him come back, and from the surgeries, that's what just in the past year, and he's doing his thing, but he still doesn't have that mentorship that his father gave him, Big C. What does that mean to him and his mother going forward?
Well, Charlton, regardless of what's not in your life anymore, is that you've always been taught to rely on yourself.
Yeah.
And especially an athlete. When you're competing, you can't use your mentor when you're on the field being a competitor. You can't use a parent. You can't even use a coach. Because once you cross that line of competition, it's you. It's that mental toughness that you developed over time. That ability to work and progress through problems, Charlton. You know, you think about a football player. Regardless of what his dad has meant in his life or his coaches taught him in practice or told him on the sideline, when that ball is snapped, he has to execute. Just like with Tiger, when he's out on the golf course, his perseverance is about being able to control the club that he has. He has to reach into himself and see what he's doing right and wrong. You know, he had a great start in the sport, and a start that most kids have in the game of golf, Charlton, because their dads are there, because they come from privileged backgrounds. But they've all been in that position that Tiger's in. They just don't walk out on the course and say, hey, I want to play this game that's very expensive because I'm white. No, they've had their dads taking them to coaches and tournaments and competing. So they always had that teaching, and Tiger had it as well. But you also, Charlton, have to stand alone. And Tiger did that even after his dad's death. And Tiger has to be the person that gets it done. I mean, his dad taught him as much as he could teach him. Even early on in Tiger's professional career, his dad was in poor health. So all he could do was talk to him. Tiger still had to execute his profession when he was at work. It was reliant, and is still even more so reliant on Tiger to be the ultimate professional. Well, not to sit back and say, well, these things have happened to me in life, woe me. There's been many athletes that has happened to, Charlton. That has not been as privileged as Tiger. But they have succeeded nevertheless. You know, when you think about players who have had, you know, life-saving surgeries, Alonzo Mourning, with a kidney transplant, and I believe Sean Elliott, when he was with the Spurs, you know, kidney transplant. The family never stepped in, gave them kidneys. Those are life-altering events, Charlton, that allowed you to come back and not misuse the second chance that you had. And that's where Tiger has to look at. It's not to misuse the second chance that he has now in coming back after some personal setbacks, after the surgeries that he's had, Charlton, and come out and be the best that he could be. Not worry about the Tiger that we saw 20 years ago. But be the best Tiger that we can see over the next 5 to 10 years.
For those things that you lamented, Big C, I really pull from, and also as a man of color, he's opened the doors, and a lot of light bulbs go off for a lot of other young kids of color all over the world, that they also can someday be considered the best golfer in the universe. So congratulations to Tiger for making him back strong. Big C, in the world of the NFL, not a lot going on now, but I do want to just bring up Michael Bennett, and looks like Seattle's going through some changes, and who knows what's going to happen with Richard Sherman, but Michael Bennett, you know, at the same time, he was one of the most dominant players on that defensive front, and now Philadelphia, this is what I guess you could call it being lucky. Not only did they win the Super Bowl, they had a great defense, their offense was balling, but now they add Michael Bennett to the mix, and he's going to have a longer career because he's not playing on that synthetic turf. He's on real grass, on real dirt, as you call it, Big C, in Philadelphia. What does that do for their defense, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, what you do is you add another capable player to the defense, one of veteran status. But also you have a defense that's overstocked now, Charlton. You can't play all the defensive linemen that you have. So somebody's going to have to move along. I mean, they one or two defensive linemen over right now. But you got to look at Bennett. Bennett was a self-made player, but he was also a player of the system in Seattle. You got to realize he was a free agent when he came out of college, when he signed with Tampa Bay originally. He wasn't drafted. You know, he came to Seattle as a free agent. And when you think about that defense that was in Seattle, it wasn't built with a lot of high draft picks. It was a lot of mid-round draft picks. And free agents. Richard Sherman, a mid-round draft pick. Cam Chancellor was a free agent. Earl Thomas, yes, was a first-round draft pick, but Bennett was a free agent. Cliff Averill was a free agent. And half that team, Charlton. So this is a team that was built from a system. And when you think about the coaching that was there, and the coaching staff has been blown up. That built that system, Charlton. You know, the head coach. I mean, the head coach in Atlanta was the defensive coordinator on that team.
Dan Quinn.
So he found a bunch of misfits. That fit together. And that's what made Seattle great.
Yeah.
Is that you had a lot of cerebral players. These players were highly intelligent. That's what they sought out. And that's why they had the freedom to do what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And Bennett was one of the leaders in that, highly intelligent.
Yeah.
And so that's the hardest thing to find in professional sports on any level. There's great athletes everywhere.
Yeah.
But to find that intelligent athlete who is going to be a big plus in Philadelphia, because he's going to pass his knowledge on to other players, what has allowed him to make him successful.
Yeah.
And his brother, when you're talking about brothers on International Women's Day, his brother Martellus.
Yeah, Martellus.
Who was with the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
You know, and so this was an exceptional sports family, the Bennett brothers, you know, coming out of Texas.
Yeah.
And having the success that they've had in their professional careers. But the scenario in Seattle was that they built under that Oakland Raider mode of the 70s, that model that Al Davis put together.
Yeah. Let's
go out and find some hungry free agents, some mid-round draft picks that nobody else wants.
Yep.
They're going to come in here with a chip on their shoulder. And you think about it, you know, Seattle was one play from him being a two-time Super Bowl champion.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
So, you know, this was a player that always had an edge and still has an edge and feels that he can compete.
Yeah.
He's going to his second Super Bowl team in his career.
Yep.
So this may rejuvenate his career for another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I think it will be. You see, 32 years old, 8.5 sacks for the Seahawks last year, joining that Eagles' dominant defensive line with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. I think it's just a lot of good football to be played in Philadelphia. And while Philadelphia is doing that, I think Jerry Jones decided he's going to throw in his hat and stay out of the courtroom and try to give the Dallas Cowboys some focus, because them good old boys in Philadelphia, they're really focused on trying to get back to the Super Bowl. Big C, in the world of the NBA, them Houston Rockets, we have liftoff because 17 in a row, they went up to the North Midwest and took out a Milwaukee team that has Giannis, the Greek Freak. It was a 110-99 beatdown. And I just look at the fact that Chris Paul and Harden, they're saying we're not concerned about the record. Remember when Golden State was focused on the record? They kind of shot I guess they burned all their energy and ended up losing to Cleveland in 7 games. But this Houston team, as good as they are, they're only a half game better than Golden State. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is a team that's playing, trying to hone themselves. You know, as you say, what record can you be concerned with? Nobody's ever going to eclipse that Golden State record.
No
one's going to run through the league and only have 8 losses in the season. So that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay? This is a team that's trying to position itself for the playoffs. You know, it doesn't make a difference whether they're the first seed or the second seed. They're basically on a collision course with Golden State.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to play lesser-ranked teams in the divisional playoffs. And it's going to come down between these two teams, so
yeah,
number 1 and number 2.
Well,
and so that's what they're trying to do right now, is stay healthy.
Yeah,
they're trying to be the best competitive team that they can be night in, night out. They have less than 20 games to play right now.
Yeah,
they're not concerned about the playoffs because they're already in the playoffs.
Yeah,
it's about staying healthy and seeing how you can mesh. Find out which players you have now down on the end of the bench.
Yeah.
That's going to help you out in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, because you'll always see a player that no one has seen all year long.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he'll come in and have a 20-point night in a playoff game.
Yeah.
And lifts you up above where you need to be, Charlton. And we've seen that every year, that all of a sudden there's this one player that walks in, he has a couple 20-point games in the playoffs, and you win a championship. That's what Houston is hoping to find right now. They know their starting 5 is solid.
Yeah.
Their first 6 is good, because that's Chris Paul, their 6th man.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking for that guy who's number 9, number 10 down on the bench, that's really going to help you out in this playoff run.
Yeah, right now they're doing a great job at 50-13. And even though they've been winning, they've won 17 in a row. There's just a half game above Golden State in the Western Conference Southwest Division. New Orleans 37-26, and I hope Davis is okay. I know he had a sprained ankle in Sacramento last night. San Antonio 37-27, and they're all chasing the playoffs. Dallas, you know, they're out of it at 20-45, as well as Memphis at 18-45. I look at what happened last night in Los Angeles. You had Orlando at the Lakers, and the Lakers get a win 108-107, but it was a weird ending. And the fact, Lopez, 27 points in 25 minutes, he had no rebounds. And the fact that they went to the tip ball, I still didn't understand how they let the game end that way. I guess the shot clock had started before the ball was touched when they were throwing it in bounds with about 4 seconds left. Do you agree the way they ended it, or should they reset the clock and let them play it over again? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Chuck, the NBA has so many weird rules that when you get a call in from the league office saying that this is rule such and such in the rule book and this is what we have to follow, regardless of what the fan sees, sometimes, what they're doing from a league perspective is wrong.
Yeah.
As a fan, you pay to see a game.
Yeah.
You pay for the competitors on the court.
Yeah.
Not for somebody back in the league offices open up a book or open up the Google button and found out what a particular rule is.
Yeah.
Don't concern yourself about the competitive nature that's been going on in the game.
Yeah.
Don't concern yourself with the fouls that the officials missed, the non-calls they didn't make.
Yeah.
But let's get to the critical point of the game, and let's go to the rules book.
Yeah, because
that's what's bad about professional sports.
Yeah.
Is that it's no longer because of this modern technology, just a game.
Yeah.
And so you rob fans night in and night out, regardless of the sport.
Yeah.
And I see why baseball has such a fight against this automated strike zone.
Yeah.
I mean, we see it on television, but still trust the umpires.
Yeah.
Making the balls and strikes call at the plate. Yes, they miss several of them.
They're human.
But they stay consistent.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. You're going to even see the NFL this year push back on some rule changes as far as what's a catch. They're going to do that.
Yep.
And so they're going to go back to the human factor.
Yeah.
And which is what you have to do. And so when you see a game like you did last night with the Lakers.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things that blew everybody away. And at the end of the game, you have a very frustrated coach.
Yep.
You had a performance by Lopez. You think about it. He's only the second player in NBA history that's 6'10" and above.
Yeah.
To score over 20 points in 35 minutes of play and not get a rebound.
Wow.
The last time that happened, Charlton, was in 1969.
Yeah.
By an Atlanta Hawks player named Velmo Beatty.
Yeah.
The Velmo Beatty throughout his NBA career averaged 11 rebounds a game.
That's good.
And he was a center.
Yeah.
But you think about that. This one night that he scored over 20 points,
yeah,
he didn't get one rebound, just like Lopez. And you think about that. Lopez is 7 feet tall.
Yep.
Scores 27 points. And can't even steal a rebound.
That's true, Big C. So obviously, if that were a football game, if you start the clock too soon, they would let you reset. And I thought that would have been the right thing to do in the world of fairness. We have a lot of things that happened last night in NBA. Toronto with a come from behind, a late win against Detroit as the number 1 seed in the East. I like the way they're playing. Casey might be coach of the year. New Orleans got a win over Sacramento, 114-111. Cleveland got the win at Denver, which kind of surprised me the way they've been playing inconsistent. But I want to get your thoughts tonight. We have a full schedule of NBA games tonight, and we have San Antonio. They're at the Golden State Warriors. And I know this is a team, these two teams have been the best teams in the West over the last several years, Big C. And you look at San Antonio, their record 37-27 in the playoff hunt. Golden State right now, they are 50-14. Of course, they're going to win the Pacific Division because they have a 15.5 game lead over the Clippers. But your thoughts on Golden State at home? They know that Houston's balling. They have to keep the pressure on Houston, but maybe they don't. But for ego-wise and attitude-wise and moxie, then they have to win at home against San Antonio. They're favored by 11.5. Big C, is there more pressure for Golden State, or does it really not matter until we get into the playoffs, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, there's no pressure on Golden State when you think about it. They've won their division. They're going to win that division again. San Antonio tonight, it most likely will be without LaMarcus Aldridge. He has a sprained ankle just like Davis.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to put him in the lineup, let him get healthy, because you're looking for playoff seeding if you're San Antonio.
Yeah.
Golden State right now is hot. I mean, you think about it. They won 50 games.
Yeah.
Both them and Houston.
Yeah.
And so they don't feel a competitor chasing them down.
Yeah.
They're in that situation right now, as we talked about earlier. They're trying to find the players that are going to really help them down the road.
Yeah.
You've locked up the division. You know what your starters can do. They've gotten a lot of minutes over the last 3 and 4 seasons, Charlton.
Yeah.
So it's about backing off a little bit with them, getting more out of your bench.
Yep.
And that's what you'll see with Golden State over the next 15 games or so. How much can they get out of their bench? They're not trying to chase down anybody.
Yeah.
They know that when the playoffs start, I mean, it's nice to have the number 1 seed because in a 7-game series, the number 1 seed wins 83% of the time.
Yep.
They like to be in that position. But they can always steal a road game, Charlton.
Yeah, that's always great. I love this time of year. This really is basketball in the play. This is playoff atmosphere. It has that feel to it. And I think a lot of people, they play harder. You think about Utah going into Indiana and beating them by 20 points last night. They're trying to get into that Western Conference bracket. And if you just think about the way they play, I love Mitchell the way he plays. Donovan Mitchell's a stud for that team. And they just have a lot going for them, but they're still on the outside looking in. And tonight you have Charlotte favored by 7 over Brooklyn. Philadelphia is favored by 1 against Miami on the road. Joel Embiid, obviously, they're favored by 1 at Miami. Dwayne Wade, he might make some over-the-basket free throws or some over-the-basket jump shots. Big C, your thoughts?
Wade is throwing it up, Charlton. He's got that youthful vigor and swagger going back to Miami, and it's good to see.
Yeah.
It's good for the NBA, and it's good for the Heat.
Yeah.
Competitive basketball is all you want this time of the year. We know you have certain teams that are just going to dominate and win their division.
Yeah.
But, as you're positioning for one of those lower seeds in the playoffs, Charlton, you get hot. You may knock somebody off in that first round.
Yeah.
That is not suspecting you to play that well.
Yeah, that's true. And you think about Minnesota at home tonight against Boston. That's a touchy game right there. There's really no point spread on that. Minnesota at home. That's a game they got to win. OKC with a 10-point favorite over Philadelphia. Big C, as we close, the Black Panther movie at $920 million worldwide in the box office has yet to open in China. And so congratulations on that, talking about movies like Gone with the Wind, Star Wars, Sound of Music, Titanic, and the Ten Commandments, where that good old boy hit behind the bush and the fire came out. So I like a lot that's going on in the sports universe. Basketball really is a fantastic sport. We love seeing teams compete, and they're competing hard. So I love that. The NFL still making some choices about who's going to play where. We know baseball's getting into the swing of things in spring training. Looking forward to that kicking off in April. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Bundini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you've got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young man, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
What I'm looking forward to, Charlton, is for the commissioner in the NFL to have some social awareness, Charlton. Because there's been some actions that have gone on at several of these combines that have been inappropriate and racist to a degree. Darius Geis, a running back out of LSU, was asked by a couple different teams in interviews, Charlton, which is totally inappropriate.
Yeah.
Do you preference men over women? Not only that, in another interview, an interviewer asking, was he aware that his mother sold herself to other men?
Oh, that's horrible.
Basically a prostitute.
That's horrible.
And so when we think about the integrity and protecting the shield that the Commissioner Goodell is always talking about, Charlton, and the integrity of the league and conduct detrimental, this is conduct detrimental. What job HR person in America would allow that to go on in any company? There's a huge lawsuit that's entailed behind that. And for the NFL to allow this to go on, this happened a decade ago with Dez Bryant, wide receiver of the Dallas Cowboys. When an interviewer asked him if his mother was a prostitute, but it's only happened with African-American players, Charlton.
Wow.
So, if the NFL wants to be fair in its treatment of everybody, then Goodell has to at least dock these teams a draft pick. And I'm talking about a high draft pick. Take away their first-round draft pick or second-round draft pick. That's what's needed. And also ban that personnel for up to 3 years from the combine. Because this is conduct detrimental not only to the league, but to the individuals, Charlton. If you're a young man of high standard and you're walking in, no one in any job situation, I don't care what level, should be asked of their sexual preference. And no one should be denigrated in saying that their mother is a prostitute.
I agree with that, Big C, especially on International Women's Day. We want to wish all the women in the universe that you'll have peace and prosperity, and you'll have every opportunity to achieve whatever you want. And you can hear us talk about it every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. When you follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America, and Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage all on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.